How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of A Playmakers View. I'm your host, as always, Jamie Burdish. Appreciate you guys joining the show. Before we get things started, I want to give you guys a brief little shout out because we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of this podcast. When I first got this thing started back in December, I really had no idea where it would take me. But to say the least, I am very happy and proud of where we have come and where I've come. And I hope that throughout these episodes that I've given you guys have been able to learn and experience a lot from the guests that I've had on. With that being said, in the near future, I've got a lot of things, cool new things going on. I want to be able to engage with you all some more. So thinking about doing a podcast stream, which will allow me to, have you guys ask questions on a live stream, be able to talk with you all, more easily, I guess. But yeah, so that is the plan for the future. But with that being said, this week's episode is featuring Ryan Clavin. I'll let Ryan talk about himself, but Ryan is a former teammate of mine at Westminster College, just graduated there and is on to a new journey. But I wanted to talk with him because he's got a lot of good experience and has worked his butt off to get to where he is. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And again, thank you so much for all the support thus far. Looking forward to what the future's got in store. And here we go. All right, guys. So like I said, I have Ryan Clavin join the podcast. First off, thank you so much, Ryan, for joining the show. I know you've been watching, and I'm happy to have you on. So to start off, I want to allow you to give the viewers a brief overview about yourself, kind of who you are and what you're doing right now.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Jamie, for having me on. I appreciate it. Really love the show. Love what you're doing, and it's really awesome to see all the people you've got to interview and all the experiences you're bringing in. So it's really cool. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. My name's Ryan. Went to school at Vianney High School in St. Louis, Missouri. From there, went on to Westminster College, played baseball there for about 3 and 13 games because of the COVID season. And then now transition into my job right now is what I'm called a team sports buyer for a company called Concourse Team Express. And basically what we are, we're an online retailer. We have a retail store in San Antonio, but we compete against retailers like Dick's Sporting Goods, Academy, and we're that online platform. And my role there is to work with some of the key vendors in the baseball department, so including Rawlings, Wilson, Easton, all those kinds of brands. And what I do is I negotiate with them as far as what products we want to bring in for our site, the prices we bring in, and the quantities and stuff like that. So I've been there for about a month now. I started out at Anheuser-Busch as a customer service rep, but now transitioning back into sports and to doing that. So really enjoying that and looking forward to the future with that company.
Awesome. That sounds great. So I want to talk to you before we get into your future and all that stuff. Talk to you a little bit about what baseball means to you, how you got into this sport. You had a pretty successful career at Westminster, so what that meant to you. So first off, what does the game of baseball mean to you?
That's a great question, man. Baseball's been a really, really big part of my life. Basically, ever since I grew up, baseball started for me. Kind of a funny story. So I was transitioning into a new neighborhood when I was little in preschool, and we had a bunch of kids in our neighborhood that I didn't know yet, and they were playing baseball in the backyard. So I went back there with my glove, and one of the neighbor kids asked me to come over and play, and that transitioned into getting on to the neighborhood team, and then just transitioned from there. Kept playing baseball in my life. So baseball's been truly important to me. It's been something that I've worked extremely hard at, and it's something that's really taught me a lot about myself and what I can do with my life. Because for me, baseball was something that I really enjoyed, but I wasn't the person that always had that, God-given talent that a lot of people are fortunate to have. And so I had to really work for my success. So that's something that why it means so much to me is that I really had to put in a lot of time and effort. You can ask, all the coaches I've had, I've never been the most, gifted athlete or the most gifted baseball player. But like I said, it really taught me how to work hard and really appreciate what I can do by just putting in that extra effort, putting in the extra hours on the field, the hours in the weight room, different things like that. And it just really taught me how to do that. And in transitioning into life, it's just always been something that has taught me, like I said, just to continue that extra work. Because for me now, working in the real world, it's something that I'm always trying to, come in early, stay late, do whatever I can to transition and help. So baseball has always been something that has kind of been my background and the thing that's always been kind of my rock. I've done it all my life, and so now it's really helping me as I start to transition out of the athlete world and into the business world.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just answered a lot of my questions that I was going to ask because, you, like you said, you worked hard and you've grinded to get to where you were. I guess that's going to be my next question for you. You had a lot of success at Westminster. What does that mean for you to, I don't know exactly all the awards you won, but, you're a staple at Westminster. You home runs, all this stuff that you've done for them. Uh, what does that mean for you? And like you said, you may not have been given the talent when you were first born, but working hard. I mean, being able to work hard and grind, and then having that accomplishment and reward, it's got to feel good. So what does that mean to you? Obviously, it feels good, and you feel successful. But how have you allowed that growth to impact the rest of your life, like you're saying, like with your job?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question. I really, it comes down to really three factors for me. And uh, first one is obviously my family. It was always something that they sacrificed a lot in order for me to do a lot of training that I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be in baseball. And they sacrificed a lot of hours, a lot of time for me. So I always wanted to make them proud and do good things on the field. And I was hoping that, through my career, I was able to do that. And it really, I wanted to kind of put a good impression on the Clavin name through sports. My dad was an athlete growing up, didn't get the chance to play in college. He was a basketball player, didn't get a chance to play for kind of financial reasons, and he was always telling me, I always want to make sure that you have that opportunity that I never got. And so once I was given the opportunity, I never wanted to take it for granted, wanted to make him proud and really thank him for all he did by having a successful career, which is why, I always tried to put in that work knowing that, he could have done the same thing, but he didn't have the opportunity. So never wanted to disappoint him and disappoint my family. And second really was my first coaches, anywhere from my grade school coaches growing up then. And I got into high school, Coach Scott Brown at Vianney, and then first at Westminster with Dane and Denny Hughes. Those guys were really, really influential in my life and still are to this day. They always were there for me, always allowed me to really do the things I needed to do to be successful. And they were there. They were great resources. For Coach Brown, he was the one that really got me into shape to be an athlete. He put me on a really good diet plan that I never really thought of, because when I was growing up with baseball, it was just kind of, I need to work out and run cardio, but I didn't look at the health side of it. And he really allowed me to look at that and transition myself into get myself into better shape. I'm not the most, I don't have I guess the greatest body in a sense, but I got in better shape as an athlete. So I was very grateful for him. And he always was somebody that truly believed in me. And I always thought that was something that really helped me too, was, had a lot of people that doubted me, growing up. And he was one of those guys always in my corner. And then when he allowed me to get to Westminster, Dane and Denny Hughes really, helped me really transition and believe in myself that I could be a top player, and really allowed me to see what my gifts and my talents were as I continued to work hard and get better. And they were always the guys that pushed me. They always told me, you can be one of the best players in the conference. You've got to keep working at it. Dane spent hours with me before practice, hour after practice, throwing BP, taking extra reps. He was always there, helped me transition myself into more of a power hitter as well, with my stance and with my strengths and stuff that I could do on the field and at the plate. And then obviously Coach Bishop, now at Westminster, he was a guy that really pushed me as well, because he kind of, when he came in, kind of set me aside and said, now, you're one of the top players in the conference, but, we want to get you more. We want to get you to that all region, the all American, and help us, take that next step in our program. And he was pushing me. He stayed with me before and after practice, pushed me in the weight room, really pushed me to limits that I never thought I could get to on the weight room and on the field. And I thought we were in a really good place that year to push past, not just get into the conference tournament, but getting past winning the conference and going into regionals. And, just for, unfortunately COVID hit, but, really those three platforms really helped shape me as an athlete. And then they really helped me transition into the real world as well. Cause like I said, that work ethic is something I always have and always try to push. And it just helps me to always know that for me, doing that extra thing is just normal versus, some people, when they get into the real world, they don't understand, the time and effort that it takes. So I'm glad that those people have instilled in me that, that work hard ethic and just continuing to sacrifice and commit to it is something that'll really help you not only, like I said, on the field, but also in the real world as well.
Mhm. It's cool that you have so many role models. I want to, continue talking about that a little bit before we wrap things up. You have a lot of role models, and a lot of times we're given opportunities. But I want you to talk a little bit more about, capitalizing on those opportunities as a young athlete. Specifically, I want you to talk a little bit about that because there's so many opportunities out there for people to continue playing sports, and not only that, but there's so many opportunities in life that people can go out and do things that they really enjoy. I think sometimes people are shy and don't want to go out and do it. So what is your advice for people? You talk about being a hard worker. What does it take to be successful at something that you love despite all of the obstacles that you may face? Do you have a piece of advice that maybe you had or you followed that you were using when and still use today, when you're facing obstacles and things like that?
Absolutely, man. That's a really good point too. I completely agree with you that some people, when they want to take that step to whether they want to be a college, high school athlete, or they want to try something new, like you said, they kind of get afraid of it, and they don't know if they want to push themselves. And my advice would just be to, I always got advice from coaches to always be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I know that's kind of a cliche phrase, but don't be afraid to put yourself out there, try something new, whether it is trying a new sport, whether it's trying, a new career path, switching your major in college. I know I switched my major a couple of times in business and doing things like that. Like I said, trying a new sport or even trying something new in your sport. You might be doing something well, and then a coach comes along and tries to tweak something for you, and just give it a chance. That's something that I kind of had to go through as an obstacle was, being uncomfortable trying new things. I know, for example, going back to Dane Hughes, we were trying to get myself to where I was hitting for more power because I was getting the strength in the weight room, but it wasn't really transitioning into the power that they wanted and that they were expecting. So kind of just made a tweak a little bit with my hands to bring them up a little farther, and then as well as the leg kick that I was having a little more explosion out of there with my bottom half. So that's just one example for me. But like I said, my advice would be, don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. Try to get outside your comfort zone. Try new things. Not everything's gonna work. I know sometimes you'll find something. There's things that I tried that didn't work for me, but that might work for other people. But just always to try new things, to put yourself out there, and you never know. I think my last piece of advice would be you never know what's going to happen if you put in the effort and you put in work, because sometimes just putting in that little bit of extra effort in anything you do, whether it's sports or in life, could set you apart. So always don't be afraid to be uncomfortable, and just continue to always work hard and put your foot forward, and commit to what you're wanting to do. Because if you commit to it and truly try something out and truly believe in it, and you work as hard as you can at it, good things will come to you. So that would be my biggest advice.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's important for people to realize, and I think that you're a great example of that. Like you said, no, we don't have the God-given talent like some people do. We aren't all born with the ability to, be an Olympic athlete or anything like that. So it takes work, and I think that you talking about that really, highlights that. So I really want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you guys for joining the podcast. We're gonna conclude with that. I hope that Ryan's message will give you guys a uptake and a little bit of motivation for your life and whatever it is that you guys are doing. So again, thank you so much, Ryan. I wish you the best of luck. Sorry that you had your season canceled last season. Your career really came to an end. You're gonna hang it all up, but thank you so much, and thank you guys for joining this week's episode of A Playmaker's View. Back with you guys next week for another episode.